Well, it's glad to see everyone here. Awesome. I'm waiting on my drink, and we'll get started. Everybody's happy? If there's any security professionals, that guy can't leave because I'm going to totally call him out during the talk. So don't let that guy leave the room. If he has to pee, there's like a corner. Ooh. What's up, guys? Are we ready?
Yeah.
All right. We're waiting on y'all.
Okay.
Everybody else can kiss off.
That's okay.
I love you.
You want those?
Sure.
See if I'm coordinated enough to work a mechanical lever. Oh!
That's right. Spacebar is supposed to move you. There we go.
Great!
Thank you, sir.
Chug it.
That is delicious. Okay. So anyway, hey, I'm Droops.
Hey, Drew.
I'm some guy who likes to drink beer, and my teachers are letting me come to this conference and not miss class technically because it's awesome, and they're going to watch this, and it's even better. And just so you know, I have a magical power, and a lot of people have it. And I didn't realize I had a magical power until I made an LED blink on this little board that I bought. And I was like, I'm fucking magic. This is awesome.
Own!
And then I realized that anybody can do it because I did it. But it's like it's fucking magic. Like I walk around the house thinking of ways I can improve my general life. We'll talk about this. This is a very special symbol to everyone at the talk. When you see this, you must consume something. And if you would like to just yell shot when you see it, that's cool too. All right. Oh, there we go. All right, so anybody not know what an Arduino is, new to it? Okay. We're doing the talk a little bit different. I'm probably going to run over, but the last bit of it is going to be the real basic, here's how you make something blink, and here's how you read something, so that we don't all have to sit through it, and that way just the people that want to know can ask questions, and it'll be all cool. So we're in 4 acts today, and so you let this guy teach your kids is the first act. I taught a high school class on Arduinos. I gave them homework where they had to take a Make magazine home and write a report to share with the class on something in it. And I would have fucking loved to have a class like that when I was a child. And we didn't wear a lot of shoes, and we learned programming down literally by a waterfall. It was cool. So now I'm done with the kids, and I'm doing something else. Act 3, we're going to have a contest. And there's actually an Arduino wirelessly broadcasting a secret code right now somewhere in this hotel. And I have some stuff if y'all would like to play with it to try to read this. And the first person to tell me the answer to the code gets a prize. And you'll know what the prize is immediately when you read the code. Good deal. And then we're going to, like I said, go into the Arduino programming. So this is an Arduino. There's many like it, and this one's mine. Actually, I'm lying. I totally stole that picture off the internet. But I have one like this. This is the latest and greatest. I can't pronounce that word. It means 2009 in Italian. It's an Arduino 2009. Some guys in Italy made these things, and they built them for a class they were teaching on industrial design. And they had all these artists that wanted to use computers in art installations, and they were really pissed off at Radio Shack's Basic Stamp and stuff, the PIC microcontroller, because it's a pain in the ass to program these things. And these artists are like, we want to create art, not spend years learning computer science. So they made this thing, and they planned to sell 50 of them to their class, and they were really worried they weren't going to sell them all. And they open sourced this development environment and this hardware, and there's sometime this summer, I met one of the guys that invented the thing, and he said that they've sold 50,000 of these things, and it's open source fucking hardware, so anybody can make their own. I've made my own, and it's really shitty. But there's manufacturers that make these that are better than the one the Arduino guys make, and they're cheaper. So they probably sell a lot more of those. So there's a shitload of these things out there. I own half of them though. There we go. Everyone knows the difference between analog and digital, right? Okay. Do you not? Okay. Digital is on or off. Analog is a varying thing between on and off. And okay. No. Apparently, I was a little excited about analog and digital one day, and I jumped up and down to demonstrate the difference in a classroom. So this is an Arduino Mega, because they're like, we're going to make better ones too. This one costs a little bit more. It has more memory and more inputs and outputs, which is really cool. Oh, and an Arduino is like $30. Like, it's so fucking hard to get $30 to buy one of these things. This is one the Cduino people made. And it's a clone, and they don't pay any money to the Arduino guys for making this, and it's just like the Mega, except it's smaller, and it's cheaper. And it has, yeah, it's just like the Mega. It has a lot of inputs and outputs. Does it? Yeah. It has more than the Mega. I don't have one yet. This is a lily pad Arduino. Apparently it's washable. It gets to say Arduino because they pay like a percentage of their money to the Arduino folks. But it's made by someone who's not really affiliated with them. She just thinks what they're doing is cool. And it's for embedding fucking electronics in your clothing, which is insanely cool. And Morgellon had a little car trouble, but he was going to talk more about it. I will gladly share with you, but he's the guy to ask. He's been really working this. They have fucking electric conductive thread. Like, that's just really, really cool. And I own a sewing machine. What's up? So anyway, Act 1. I pitched this to class. I was working at a high school and a college, and they have a summer camp program for kids that need better grades, whatever. So I told the principal of the school, I want to teach a class on electronics, and I had like stuff to tell him, and he's like, okay. And I was like, well, okay. So, all right. So I fucking taught electronics class. And I did a lot of thought on this, and I was like, what would be the coolest thing I could possibly do for a bunch of high school students? And it's awesome. I'm going to talk about it. But I really thought, like, when I was in high school, they were like, you have to do this, and you have to, in college also, and in real life, they're like, you have to do this, you have to do this. And I was like, fuck that. I'm going to teach these kids whatever they want to learn. So if they're like, I want to build a fucking paintball gun that has a rangefinder and automatically shoots when it senses motion, that's what we did build. So... these are some pictures from my class. They were from, it's a military school, and this is their summer uniform, if you're wondering why they all look the same, and their heads are shaved. This is just like pictures we took randomly one day in class. They're building stuff. We learned not to solder above your pants. There's a kid that carries a scar from that. I feel really bad. But there always is one. Like, I told them they were all going to burn themselves, and they're like, well, that's kind of scary. And then they all did it, and they all laughed. Yeah, so they're just, like, building stuff. This is a funny story to me, and it's very important that you know who this fellow is. This guy is one of the strongest people I've ever met. This is a tug-of-war contest where this gentleman, who is, like, 60-something, does not let go of the fucking rope even though his team loses. Because they're all, like, smiling and shit, and he's fucking trying. And he's also the high school principal, and he gets drug across the field, and he just doesn't let go. Like, it tore his shirt, and he did not let go till they fucking stopped, because he is an excellent example to young people. And he is fucking tough. Like, he is really fucking hardcore. Our football team, he's also the football coach, and he's called Coach, didn't win. Like, my senior year, we scored 12 points, which for some of you is 2 touchdowns, and there's a point after, and we didn't get it. So anyway, this guy is really imposing on the new kids. He gives them all nicknames. Like, he doesn't even fucking know their names. Like, he just goes by nicknames. But he also knows, like, every score they've ever gotten on a test and everything about them. Just, you're like, who's this kid? And he's like, I don't know. Is that Pumpkin? And that's some kid's name. So the first thing the class wanted to do was fuck with this guy. And I'm all about that. So we built a little device that randomly beeps between 1 second and 20 minutes. And it just beeps for beep, and then it's quiet. And they didn't realize that they were actually learning, like, fucking writing C to do this, which is really cool. And we hid this in his office after we Like it was totally like Ocean's 11. Like we went in there and got him to come look at something, and like the kid snuck in. So the next day he comes to my classroom. And he talks really loud, and he says my name, Major Droops. I need to talk to you for a minute. And I'm like, oh fuck, because like I went to high school there. Like like he's scary still, even though I'm like kind of a grown up. Oh, and drink. So apparently he thought something was wrong with his cell phone, and he spent all day trying to figure out what was wrong with his cell phone from this random fucking beeping. So they thought that was really cool, and they learned about soldering, and they learned about sending digital signals to a piezo buzzer, and they learned about programming C, and that was all really fucking cool, and they were using an IDE, and like they fucking built something in like a day that did something really cool. And like you might say, okay, it beeps, that's not cool, but like that's a lot for like some kids that one of them had taken an HTML class, a website development class, where they used Word to export the web page. No. And that was the most coding these kids had ever done. And then like the first day of class, they're like, I can write fucking C, what's up? The next project we worked on was they decided they wanted to make a coffee cup, because I like to drink coffee. And I did not get a lot of sleep this summer, and I drank a lot of coffee. But they didn't want any fucking coffee cup. They wanted a coffee cup that not only heated the coffee and, it would display the temperature, they wanted one you could adjust to the perfect temperature with a knob. And I'm like, this is awesome, because that has a whole bunch of shit you have to figure out. What's that? Potentiometer. Potentiometer is an analog device. They had to read this analog potentiometer. They had to read the temperature sensor, which is an analog device. They had to compare the values of these things, and then they had to display them on this bar graph. And as a heater, we bought like a USB heater thing that you set your cup on, and we took that apart. So reverse engineering was a very important keyword that the class had to learn. And we took something apart, and we made it do something else. It was kind of similar, but we added a lot of functionality to it. And we learned about you don't really fucking own stuff unless you fucking own it and take it apart and do what you want to do, which was really cool. A bunch of them converted to Linux. I feel like a Jehovah's Witness. I'm like, I got all these kids all fucking excited. Drink! So then they were like, let's build a kite camera and do aerial photography, which is really awesome. We bought like a little $10 camera at Walmart that you can see in this beautifully enclosed with a yellow electrical tape thing that we tied to a camera. And we went out on the non-windiest day of the year to a battlefield, which was the Battle of Hemp Bales for any of you history buffs, where hemp was actually on fire at the battle. Everybody forgot what they were fighting? Yeah. Well, the South won this one, and the North was like, fuck it. And the battle was fought over money that the bank had in town. The South wanted this money, and the North took it, as they say. But really, the founder of our school gave it to the Union, whatever dude in charge, and he buried it under his tent. And then later that day, he unburied it and gave it up, which was kind of neat. So yeah, our school was founded by a guy who lost a bunch of money in a bank. Whatever. So we went to this battlefield, and I made the kids run across with the kite, but I let them smoke a cigarette first, because they were all going to do that anyway. And we got some really shitty aerial photos, and every once in a while you can be like, oh, that's sky or that's grass. But the Arduino was touching a relay, and the relay was tied into this camera, and it was all powered by a 9-volt battery, and we took the camera apart, and it's really cool looking. That's one of the young students running with the kite. It's about as high as it got. That's our beautiful camera that we built. And that's fucking cool to me. All right, so then they were all interested in ghosts because the school's been there since 1880, and there's ghosts. So we built some EMF detectors, or ghost finders, and we ran around campus looking for stuff. And as a student there, I didn't believe in the ghost thing, like, whatever. And I had lived in this building for 2 years. It was an old building. It was built in like 1919 as a temporary building. And then they were like, fuck it, brick it, and we'll use it. And I lived in this thing, and it was awesome. But you knew like I could go in a room and like hear a squeak, and I knew what room that was coming from. Because I had lived in this building for so long, and it was kind of ratty. And one day I was in the bathroom. I was on the second floor right by the stairs, and I heard someone walking up the stairs. The only person it could possibly be was either some kid doing something wrong or the guy who watched at night, and he was a very overweight fellow. Love you, Major Fred. And it wasn't him. It was somebody normal sized. So I sneak out the bathroom, and someone walks up the stairs right past me and down the hall, but there was no one fucking there. So I immediately run to my room and get my sword and like hide. Anyway, this building's been torn down. It's a very integral part of the story. So we go in Coach's office, which is the epicenter of no ghost activity because ghosts are fucking scared of his ass. And it is right above the dark room at the school where someone, I think, hung themselves. At least that's the legend. It's also where all the electricity comes through into the building, which is important for the story. Nothing. We went to the chapel, and there was a little bit of paranormal activity. We went over by this Nazi stuff, nothing. We went to the hole where, actually it's been filled now, where that building where I experienced my ghost thing. There's no electricity anywhere near this. There's no building anymore, and it just fucking jumped off the roof, just like it had in the dark room, where all the electricity is coming into the building. So, anyway. So all these kids are on different levels, obviously. Like I had 15-year-olds and I had high school seniors, and there's different competency levels between folks. One day, one of the guys decided they wanted to build dinosaurs. So it's like, all right, they all wanted to build robots every day, but there's a lot of work into that. So we decided just to build dinosaurs. At like the low end of the class, they took some wire and soldered it together in the shape of a dinosaur. And they were like, woo, dinosaurs! And then like everyone else kind of built something electric. Like they took some little pieces of wire and made a mouth for the dinosaur. It had little LED eyes, and when you touched the mouth wires together with something metallic, electricity flowed through it, and the lights lit up. And that was cool. And one of the students decided, fuck dinosaurs. She took 2 LCDs, hooked them together, put buttons on the side, and had a scrolling menu. So we had like dinosaur wire soldering guy, and then like I fucking figured out LCDs and buttons, and I can scroll. We went to a hackerspace in Kansas City. It's the Cowtown Computer Congress, which is a really fucking cool thing. It's 80 feet or something underground. There's no cell phone service. It's technically an office park in an old cave, but if you just say it's 80 feet underground in this cave, and there's no cell phone service, and it's crazy weird, it's really cool. So I drove my class there, and I took them to McDonald's because they were excited to be off campus. And McDonald's is apparently normalcy for some folk. Then we got to this thing, and the door's locked to get down. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I don't know a number. So I use my phone, and I look it up, and they have like a phone there, and it just rings. And I'm like, oh, shit. So I call my friend Juice, whose name I really don't know. And he does not know mine. So I'm in the van with my class, and I'm like, hey, Juice, this is Droops, dude. I got to get into the cave. Do you know somebody? And my class is like, what are you talking about? Which was kind of spooky. But these guys were totally awesome. They let us pretty much touch whatever we wanted. And I had a bunch of high school kids run around fiddling with their stuff. This guy had a robot that had digital servos, so he could position it and then read them, which is the difference between analog and digital servos. You can read the digital ones. So he could like program this robot by taking snapshots of sorts and having it walk around and do its thing. Do I keep looking at you? I don't know. Am I looking at everybody else? I'm trying to look around. Anyway, he had a sticker on his laptop that said, I build robots. And this guy spent like an hour telling my kids about this, showing them videos, and there's like all these robot fighting things and just really fucking cool stuff. And the kids are just wetting themselves, so excited about this. And then they asked him how long it took him to build this robot. And he said, oh, I bought it as a kid. It didn't take any time. And they were all like, oh. And like, coolest guy ever, I'm going to say something, it's funny, but like these kids, they walk out, and 2 weeks prior, they had never really like programmed anything or soldered or really built anything on their own, and they're all like, he should change that sticker to say, I buy robots. Totally cool dude, though. I think he does build robots, just not that particular one. I don't know. So yeah, we built a paintball gun. We found a paintball gun. It was electric, which was helpful. And we bypassed the trigger so that we had 2 buttons. One shot 3 times in a third of a second. And the other one shot 10 times in 1 second, which was really fucking cool. We put a motion detector on it. All right, the guy that built the dinosaur out of wire, he made some lights that lit up when you shot it. But the rest of the class took a piece of pipe, put a motion detector in it, which narrowed the field of vision, and it also looked like it was a grenade launcher. So that was fucking cool. And then it automatically shot. You could select when it detected motion. And it also had a rangefinder on there. So, I had a shitty rangefinder. So it would be like, I could detect me and you. But that was about it. But still, it was a rangefinder, and it all works the same. I just didn't have the fancy money. And the paintball gun didn't even work. So we never really tried it. But it was cool. The girl that built the menu system with the LCDs was on crutches because the second day there at military school summer camp, she hurt her leg and had to walk around on crutches. But she was also quite the artist, and she painted this for the class. So we had a thing to demonstrate. And it's really cool, and it made the Make blog, which is fucking cool. I love this fucking game. Really? You gotta share, man. All right, so then we decided we wanted to build a car. We're working toward robot. And we purchased a $15 remote control car at Walmart. Because in rural Missouri, that's where you go to the store. And then we added a little bit length to the antenna. And hopefully that is on. And then we took an Arduino, interfaced it with the remote control via a series of relays. And this car is very, very high-tech. Has 2 wheels that are powered. If you power them both, it goes forward. If you power one way and reverse. Or you can power individually wheels to make it turn. And if y'all will give me a second. Unless you want me to do this at the end of the talk. I don't care. All right. No one says anything. That's cool. Maybe it's not turned on. We should probably stop it. All right, so the Arduino is talking to the computer. So now I have a remote control car that the computer controls. And I wanted to set an 8-hour delay so they could pretend they were guiding the Mars rovers. And they'd be like, I think we can make it over this bit of carpet for about 2 feet. And then the next day we'd see if it worked, but we didn't really have time for that. And they programmed tricks into it, where it did stunts. And every time we left the classroom to do anything cool, they would be somebody important would definitely be walking around. And here's my class, just their shoes off, fucking playing with a remote control car, and they would get all mad at me. It was awesome. I actually, after the trip to the Chaos Computer Congress thing, not Chaos Computer Congress, but Cowtown Computer Congress, that's it, I'm sorry. The class decided they were all tired because we got in all late. So we were just sitting in class, and none of us were paying attention. And I said, fuck this, we're going to go do something fun. And we went out to the battlefield where there is a waterfall out in the woods that I hear marijuana is smoked there an awful lot at night. But this was during the day. So I took the class out there, and we sat out by a waterfall, and we talked about robots, which I've never been on a field trip to a waterfall because my teacher was really crazy. And that was really cool. We actually got stuff done. And, the slow kid, tried to catch stuff in the water. But anyway, everybody got an A because I'm not an asshole. Oh, there we go. So I'm getting a business degree in college, and I've been doing such things since 1998. I'm working on that bachelor still. I keep stopping. But so I didn't go to fancy electronics school, so I'm probably doing all of this stuff wrong. In fact, I forgot to pass things around. Everyone's seen an Arduino, right? So kind of, we saw a picture. I got something to look at. This is an RFID tag reader that if you saw my talk last year, this is the thing that I pass around. I've got some RFID tags, and when they are set on there, it's red and it shows the code. And if you peel back this tape, multi-layers of tape, you can see my beautiful hot glue, different colors of electrical tape job. And there's a Arduino clone in here that costs $10. There's a $40 RFID tag reader that talks serial to it. And then there's a $20 LCD that talks serial to the Arduino, which is kind of neat. I'm going to just pass this around if anyone wants to look at it. All right. Where was I? All right. So I'm building a photo booth. My wife's a photographer. She thinks this would be a cool thing to have. And it totally, you push a button, it takes your picture, and then it uploads it to Twitter or to the website or wherever you want to set it up to, which is really cool. So we don't have to pay for printing, and people can Facebook it and do whatever they do with photos of themselves. I think I have a video. Notice the big-ass penguin? So you push an arcade button, and it takes a picture of you, and it's all using Linux and Happy and whatnot, and that application's really poor. And that's my messy-ass sink that I forgot to clean before I made a video, which now my wife will be mad. But whatever. So it's all pretty, I mean, it's pushing the space bar on a computer or on a keyboard that we took apart and replaced it with a arcade button. Not really Arduino-y, but I want to flash. If you notice, like on your Mac or on whatever that's fucking called, cheese, it flashes the screen. Well, that's not really bright enough. And I can use a relay, and I can the Arduino read when that button is pressed. That's the keyboard for spacebar, and give it the time delay, and then I can light up the lights. And I was really hoping to bring it, but fucking school. Anyway, arcade button. I'm working on some wireless flashes for my wife because we want to do like cool effects where one flash activates, the other flash activates, or maybe the flash is over there, and we take a picture, it lights it from behind. And the thing that does this is $200 a unit, and you need two, one for your camera and one for your flash, and that's a fuckload of money, and they're a pain in the ass to use. We're doing that with these little parallax wireless things, which gives you communication for like $50. That is $12 no. I've used some little small ones that were cheap, and they don't work near as well. I walk around my house all day, and in my insane rambling, I push the button on my coffee pot to turn it on because it has a timer, which is good for me because I'll just leave it on when I leave the house. So I'm putting a motion detector on that so that every time it detects motion, it just turns the fucking coffee pot on, which is going to be awesome. Halloween costumes. We don't like to buy shit. You don't have to. Like, if you can make it yourself, that's totally much cooler than paying for it. So these are some boxes from Amazon and some tinfoil. And my wife's modeling my daughter's costume. But it's got an Arduino controlling some LEDs because it's a fucking robot and it's blinking. And if you... So my kids are wearing hardware that I built for Halloween that I can upgrade the firmware on, which is fucking cool. Yeah. And they might burn themselves horribly, but I doubt it. I mean, there is a thick layer of cardboard between the electron. So yeah, totally cool Halloween costumes. That's what it looks like behind there, and my creeper face. That's a little $10 really bare bones Arduino that controls the LEDs, and it takes a 9-volt battery. Real tricky stuff. I really like to shoot stuff. Like, it doesn't matter what it is, I love to shoot it. Not like heroin, but like with a gun. I live in rural America, and I have the privilege of just going outside and just shooting stuff. And like, I love to shoot so much. My wife is like 9 months pregnant during this particular story, and it is the middle of the summer, and I take her down by a creek that has stagnant water and mosquitoes because I thought it'd be fun to shoot there for some reason. And after about 5 minutes, she's like, fuck it, I'm tired. Let's just go. And I'm like, well, I really want to shoot something. She's like, I'll drive. You just shoot, you know, right in the passenger seat. I'm like, fuck yeah. So I made a 1 in a million shot where I blew my antenna in half of my truck. Like, I could not do that if I tried. But I still think I hit the ant bed. I don't really know. It scared the fuck out of me when that antenna started wobbling. So anyway, I'm building some targets because I think that other Americans should, and whoever, should utilize their God-given privilege of having a pistol and just shooting at your car antenna. I don't know. What's up? Yeah. Okay. I thought you had a question, dude. So anyway, I'm building some targets because I'm not one to just like, there's some paper and like aim and shoot at it. I like to like shoot at stuff that's like moving. So I'm building some targets that are Arduino controlled. I'm a little crazy, whatever. That have randomness and maybe motion detectors. And maybe I'm walking through a field with a shotgun and I have a bunch of clay pigeon tossers that are looking for motion. And when I get near them, the pigeon flies and I shoot it. And then I chuckle and then I continue on. That's the trick. And we're going to talk more about that. I totally want to fix that problem. I also have, like, they pop up and they stay up for a few seconds and then they pop back down. And you can put a man-sized target there, which is a pretty good target to shoot at. And with randomness, you can have a bunch. And as they come up, and I'm actually, like, seriously working on this now. This summer, I was away from my welding materials. So I've got all the software done and, like, the technicalness. I just haven't welded enough targets together. But that's totally cool. Act 3. Woohoo! The hell time is it? Oh, we're good. So anyway, my wireless challenge. There's the statistics on this wireless device that is broadcasting for you fellas and ladies. If you would like to read this, I have Arduinos and all the required materials for you to walk around the hotel with homemade electronics looking for a wireless signal hidden somewhere around here, and then decoding it. And you have to bring it to me to get the prize. And if you have questions about that, you can come on. That's the thing that's sitting somewhere in the hotel broadcasting out. That's an Arduino clone called the Really Bare Bones board. I have a backpack full of this shit, and I'm going to be walking around. If anybody wants to talk about it, anybody wants to play with it, just see me. You can get some one-on-one time. I mean, if we have to go to your room and drink beer and talk about stuff, I'm totally down with that. Oh, and drink. And I'm not really finished, but I'm going to take questions so that we can work on the people that are more interested in how all this works. Are there any questions? Yes, sir.
Are you ready to drink? All right.
Anyone else? And there's food about to be happening, and if you wanted to go to get in the headline, that's cool with me. There's an IDE that they give away because it's all open source and happy. It plugs up over USB, but it pretends to be serial. And it's really, really easy. Like, high school kids can learn it in like 20 minutes. So I have some of y'all stayed and you're interested in this stuff. There's some odd pin spacing on this that you can't make your own shields with like a perf board that you buy at Radio Shack or anywhere else that would obviously be cheaper. And I asked about what that is because there's a lot of debate why there's this weird pin spacing. Or is these open source guys really closed source Nazis that are trying to make you buy shields, which is a little thing that fits on top of the Arduino? And no, the guy made a mistake when he made the first batch, and people just got used to it. Debunked. Drink. Are there better Arduinos? Well, hell yeah, there's always like better technology. And I'm working on this, but again, I've had no formal electronics training. You can make these things like the size of a stick of gum, but I would like to make one that's around this size with holes drilled all in it that are all traced to each other, so that when you built a project, you could build one about this size without having to have like shields and all kind of like asinine wiring like that other thing. And I've got it all drawn out on paper. If anyone knows how to use like a CAD program, I'd really like to talk to you, because I really think this would take someone that knew what they were doing in like 2 minutes. And now I have some random videos. Purely random. This is a potentiometer, which is analog, talking to a servo, which is analog. And it's all spinny. Yay! This is something we came up with. Wish I could pause it. This is an electronic toothbrush that twitters. There's a switch where you select who is using the toothbrush, Andrew or Josh. And then when you turn it on, it twitters that Andrew is, in fact, brushing his teeth with this electronic toothbrush.
Oh, yeah!
And then a few minutes, Josh twitters, because it's his turn. I don't know if you know this, but there's actually a really old law that if you have an electronic toothbrush, there's time sharing on it. I don't know. Moving on. Maybe I saw this last year. I really like this video. This is a little $10 Wi-Fi detector that we're using the Arduino to control and read, and saying that there are, in fact, 4 LEDs of Wi-Fi in the area. I can't ever get it to go to 3. Whatever. This is a really expensive Etch-a-Sketch that's really shitty. But you can control the width of the circle. Fuck Etch-a-Sketch. This is a dildo of sorts that maybe you saw last year. So I'm reusing some of the videos because I really like this one. And I'm still looking for a model. If anyone wants to, I got some wax. The motors are independently controlled from the LEDs, so you can get a light show along with a good feeling. The goal this weekend is to network enable this, so which is why I brought it up again. And it also has an LCD that will talk to you. Yeah, exciting times. Okay, so that's totally I'm going to laugh about stuff. The rest of it's just learning about code and seeing how easy this is to do. And I would love all of you to stay, but like I'm hungry also. So if you would like to leave, it's cool. Or you can just watch me because I'll keep going. What? Actually, there was a rule enacted earlier for PhreakNIC. I think it's like the second rule ever made that anybody who wants to hit that guy can. And I'm going to also have the car if you want to play with it some. So anyway, this is the IDE, which is the boring part of the talk, but it's very, very cool. You compile your program. You can stop it from running. Tricky stuff, right? You can save it, open it, whatever. That button uploads it to the Arduino. And that button opens up a serial console, like when I was controlling the car and I was typing stuff and it was like start or stop or go or whatever. That was the serial console talking to the Arduino. This is a really tricky program where it controls a servo to read stuff based on a potentiometer. And this is seriously easy, easy code. Oh, and did I mention this is fucking open source? Like, I totally ripped this off the internet because everybody likes to share and be happy. So, whatever. Basic code. There's some very simple structure to this thing. You declare some variables. I don't know if you've ever had a programming course, but that's pretty standard. Then there's a setup where you're like, I would like this pin that I'm going to call LED pin, and it's going to be pin 13 on the Arduino, which they're all little numbers. And I would like it to be output. I would like to send a signal to it. And then in this loop, which is the meat of the program, like a script, you run it once and it's done, and like a program, it's constantly looping, waiting for you to click that mouse. Like it's just like, click it, click it, click it. And the Arduino's no different. We're going to write this pin high with digital, because LEDs on or off. But you can use them as analog if you want them to fade. We're going to delay for 1 second, and then we're going to turn it off. And we're never going to notice that it's off, because immediately we're going to go to this loop and we're going to turn it on again. So we'd probably want to put another delay there, and then every second it's on and then off. Pretty simple stuff. So digital write, as we just saw, is like, I want you to be on. And most of these electronics are 5 volts. So it's like, I would like you to have 5 volts. And the LED or the whatever you're controlling is like, cool. Digital read. This is like buttons and stuff. It's on and off. You want it on, you want it off. Tricky. Analog write. Now analog, that's the fun one. If we want a light to be different brightnesses, or if we want, I don't know, whatever, a piezo to make funny noises and scale, or whatever that audio term is, Analog write. Analog read. Like, if you can read with analog read, like, it's like I would like to get a range between 0 and 5 volts and make it this, and just call it pot val. Well, now you're reading potentiometers, you're reading motion detectors, you're reading range finders, like you're reading all these fancy things of electronics, and it's that. Serial, very important. If you would like hardware hello world is blink a fucking LED, and software hello world is to say hello world back to you. So you can write a program that not only blinks an LED, it will talk back to your laptop so that you can send it commands. Start a serial connection. We can print something, or we can print line something where it does enter at the end. Tricky stuff. We're going to read a potentiometer. Pot val starts at 0, so it's not like going to just start randomly, but you don't have to put 0. It's cool. The pin, we're going to say it's pin 4. It would be an analog pin. So there's pretty much, it says analog in and then number 4. In our setup, we're going to say that pin's an input, and then in our loop, we're going to make this variable be whatever that is. And it's not going to do anything. We're just going to be turning a potentiometer because it doesn't know more to do. But we're analog reading a potentiometer or a motion detector or anything else fucking analog. Cool? Woohoo! Okay, that's all I got because it is time to eat. Thank you all for being here. I would totally love every one of you to have an a magical power. I'd also really like you to play with my car. And I'd also like you to find something that I have hidden in the hotel. So if you would like to do any of those things or ask me questions, I'll spend all day talking to you. All right, that's it. Go away, go eat. Or sit, I don't care. And if anyone was unhappy with the talk, please tell me. Food is going to be out front. Because I have a bottle.